I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Charles, and I'd like to introduce you to Arlington National Cemetery. Arlington National Cemetery sits on 624 acres of an original 1,100 acres, which was owned by George Washington Parke Custis, the adoptive grandson of George Washington. Now, the way this became Arlington National Cemetery is when he inherited the property, and his daughter, Marianna Randolph Custis, married a young second lieutenant in the Union Army named Robert E. Lee. Now, at the outbreak of the Civil War, Robert E. Lee was faced with a dilemma. So he debated and debated within himself and finally came to the conclusion that he could not draw his sword against his beloved state of Virginia. So he resigned his commission with the Union Army. He and his wife packed up and moved to Richmond, Virginia, where he later took over the Northern Division of the Confederate Army. During the Civil War, there were so many Union and Confederate troops being killed at a rate that they found themselves almost having to bury them at the spot where they were killed. This created a public outrage. So Secretary of War Edwin Stanton called on Quartermaster General Montgomery C. Meigs to survey around to see if there was a place that could be used as a cemetery. Now, Meigs and Lee had attended West Point together. So Meigs felt that Lee was a traitor for leaving the Union Army to join the Confederate Army. So he didn't survey around at all. He said, we're going to use Lee's property as a cemetery. Lee, after Meigs chose this to be the property, the taxes also mounted on the property. The taxes got up to $92.07. There was a new law put in place that said that you had to pay your property taxes in person. By now, Lee's wife was suffering with crippling arthritis, plus she dare not cross enemy lines, so she sent her cousin with the $92.07. Since it was not her in person, the money was refused. The federal government moved in and confiscated the property. The Union troops looted the mansion and used it as a headquarters. This is how this became Arlington National Cemetery. Now, the first person to ever be interred here and militarily was a Private William Crispin with the Union Army, who died of dysentery in May of 1864, 1 month prior to this ever becoming an official national shrine. But the first person to ever be buried on these grounds was a Mary Randolph. She was a direct descendant of Pocahontas and cousin of Thomas Jefferson, our third president. She was interred here just behind where the mansion is in 1828.